Okay, so now we'd like to introduce Taurus Tech.
Hey. Hi, everybody. My name is Taurus McBride. I've been training people. Hey, I'm going to send you the link. She was doing her EPA test today. So my name is Taurus McBride. I have a company called Taurus Tech. And I've been training people in HVAC and building engineering for 21 years. And they asked me to speak a little bit about heat pumps. Pretty much HVAC nowadays is basically going all towards heat pumps. There are a lot of things that are happening in regards to heat pumps that most people, especially in disadvantaged communities, have no idea is taking place. So we'll just take a look at it. All right, so everybody in New York State is going to have to install heat pumps. Now, it might not be today, but there's a law. I think it was the Climate Mobilization Act that you were speaking about. By the year 2030, if you have a boiler and your boiler breaks, you cannot buy a new boiler. You can only buy a heat pump that goes for your boiler and goes for your hot water heater. And unfortunately, most people were completely unaware about that, even though the law goes back to 2019. I see a lot of long faces. Don't stress out. For new builds. So there's a lot of nudging taking place in New York right now. So she spoke about local law in 97. So probably none of us qualify for this, but in New York City, if your building is over 25,000 square feet, you're gonna start getting fines this year for having, boilers and different things like that. So the reason why this is important to me, I've been speaking about this stuff for years, especially in disadvantaged communities. There's a lot of things that recently caused the price of heat pumps to start to skyrocket. I'm pretty sure we all know about tariffs, right? When you think about a tariff, at one point the tariffs from China were 145%. So you can imagine if a heat pump was gonna cost you $10,000, at that time it would have been $25,000. Now, even though the tariffs went back down, right now they're currently 30%, look at what just happened with the steel and aluminum. It was 25%, and you kicked it up to 50%. So you really have no idea what's going on with that. So in addition, I would say to thinking about heat pumps, the most important thing you can do is weatherize your home. Because a lot of times people will be dissatisfied after they install heat pumps. A heat pump under no condition is going to emit as much heat as your gas or oil boiler will. Your gas or oil boiler, they're designed to keep out a lot of heat because houses and apartments in New York were very, very drafty. As a matter of fact, when they had the Spanish flu, that's literally what they did. They sweated influenza out of people by sending so much heat in. So people have gotten very, very accustomed to being in these very, very hot environments, and they don't really know that their house can be very, very drafty. So even before you think about a heat pump, literally weatherize your house. That could be fixing windows, going to double pane windows, putting caulk around the windows, going up in the attic, stuffing insulation into the cracks and grooves, different things like that. If you do that, not only if you do choose to go with heat pumps, your bill is going to be much lower than otherwise. Because a lot of people, what happens, they install a heat pump and then they get this electric bill and it's outrageous because you're spending electricity whereas you were paying for gas before. And again, it's not the heat pump's fault. Heat pumps are not magic bullets, right? So there's always a balance. And what I think we need to do is get a little bit more information out inside of our community so that people are not shocked by what's taking place. For instance, our next slide. All new heat pumps are going to have flammable refrigerants. Now, when I say flammable, what does that mean? Technically speaking, we're all accustomed to having flammable gas and oil inside of our house, right? It's not a very big deal. But when you have a heat pump, you have a compressor that's making this refrigerant very, very high pressure. And it's not dangerous. It's not really, really dangerous as long as it doesn't leak a lot. So this is just talking about starting this year, right? It says that January 2026, the refrigerants that we can install have to have a global warming potential below 700. Almost all heat pumps that get installed right now are going to use R410A. that has a global warming above 2,000. So they said, well, we got to get rid of R410A. So now the new refrigerants that they're going to use are R32 and R454B, because their global warming potential is under 700. What happened was last year the manufacturers stopped making the equipment that had 410A, and they started switching over to the R32. So anytime you have a manufacturer, they start making new stuff, the cost is going to go up. So the equipment is going to be a little more expensive with the new stuff. But if you are able to install a heat pump this year, you can install, up until the end of this year, you can still get somebody to install an R410A piece of equipment. And that will probably save you a little more money before you have to go with one of the flammable refrigerants. And this goes both for a heat pump for heating as well as for hot water, because eventually they're going to want us all to have heat pump hot water heaters as well. Okay. All right. Equipment, labor, and refrigerant shortages are causing prices to skyrocket. So that refrigerant I was just talking about, R454B, right? This is an invoice that I got for one can of R454B. One 20-pound can was $2,000. So there's shortages. I was just talking about tariffs.
How much was that 2 years ago?
Well, just to put it in context, the R410A, you can get a can for $200. So the price of the new flammable refrigerant is 10 times the price of the currently available refrigerant. So there's just a lot of things taking place right now that people are just not aware of. So I've crisscrossed this country talking about this stuff because I kind of knew some things were coming. I knew prices were going to go up, but unfortunately with the new administration and all the wackiness that's going on, things are crazy right now. They are crazy right now. If you are in a position to consider doing something, it is better to do it now as opposed to waiting too long, because the prices are going to keep going up. Start with the weatherization. Even if you're doing a heat pump, start with the weatherization as well. Okay, rebates and incentives are being eliminated. Now, some of this stuff I think is in the new bill, big ugly bill that they're passing on. Right? So when it comes to heat pumps are great. I'm not trying to discourage anybody about heat pumps. The reason heat pumps are great, we talk about like leaks and things like that. When they pump the gas through the pipelines, it's leaking gas all over the place. When it gets into your house, it's leaking in your house. You may not know that. It's leaking all over the place. Your stove is leaking constantly. When we talk about preserving people's health and reducing asthma and things like that, it's because we're constantly being exposed to this flammable gas. And it is a non-renewable substance. So when it goes through that pipe and it leaks or it gets burned, it is gone forever. So what a heat pump is, it's a cycle. Like your air conditioner, it's a cycle. If it has 2 pounds of refrigerant, it's just using that 2 pounds of refrigerant forever. Or it should be forever, right? So Energy Star was a program, the government say, here's how efficient your heat pump is. And they would give you ratings and say, this heat pump is more and more efficient, right? Well, guess what? They're getting rid of that. Over here, which one is this? Deployment of clean energy technologies. So there are clean energy programs that are being cut. So one thing I would say to everybody here, contact your assembly person, your senator, your representative, and let them know we have to fight this, because this is going to affect everyone. I assure you, everybody notices it's been super hot one day, then super rainy the next day. That's a cycle. When it's very, very hot, it evaporates moisture on the ground and on the ocean. All of that moisture goes into the clouds, then when it gets cool, it rains. Well, right now, the rains, the storms are getting more and more violent than ever. And it's happening at a cycle more frequently than we have ever seen before. That is climate change. That's literally why they went from saying global warming to climate change, because it is a cycle of a pattern that is affecting us. So sometimes I drive home, I'm in Long Island, it feels like I'm in a monsoon. And then the next day it's hot. I was out, I was picking something up today, I leaned on my car, almost got burned. Because it's so hot, it's so sunny. A lot of this stuff has to do climate change, and if you have the ability, contact your local representatives. But don't just speak about these programs, also speak about, a lot of people don't know this, there's monies that are available for people. Even I don't even know everything that's available to people. And years ago, I was working with churches, and I found out that in New York City, they have borough presidents. And the borough presidents will have discretionary funds that they can just write people checks. You just have to go into their office before the date to ask for something. There's all types of things that are available. Again, I don't know everything, but if you have the ability to, don't wait until those funds go away. So, say again?
Who do we go after?
Again,
Well, there is a local, there's two kind of ways that you could get some immediate help from someone. One is there is regional clean energy hubs that are funded by New York State that are mainly, geared towards low to moderate income households to help people access bill assistance programs, energy efficiency programs, and have you ever heard of Empower Plus? That's like a great program that's available. And so I have some literature I'm happy to give you. We can also send you a link. We also, New Yorkers for Clean Power, has something called a clean energy coaching, where you can go on our website and make an appointment with one of our free clean energy coaches and spend like a half hour kind of getting your questions asked about what to do first, because that's sometimes the hardest question. Weatherization, if you're thinking of buying an electric vehicle, and these clean energy coaches are not trying to sell you anything. They're really just wanting to help people transition off fossil fuels. And likewise, the clean energy coaches are funded by the state and nonprofits. Basically, we have the workforce contract for the Mid-Hudson Hub. So we can definitely put you in touch.
It's available in Norman.
So I think I need to make a clarification. Unfortunately, since we have a contract with Mount Vernon and Michelle, the hub can't go in unless they come through us.
Oh, okay. You had mentioned that.
So Marvin is a great resource.
So if anybody wants to get a part of the hub, and we look at it, we think they qualify, I refer to them. But they have to, before anything goes out to the hub, it comes to our organization first, and then we make this determination.
Perfect. So there you go. There's your
It's not that easy.
I totally agree.
I'm telling you.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah, it's not.
We have to go through a process.
It's very complicated.
Listen, I needed some help, not to cut you from E. And I live here in Mount Vernon. I had to call all the way in White Plains to beg, ask somebody out here to help me. Choose somebody else to help me. Yes, not here in Mount Vernon, because I didn't any help.
That's the way it works. The PEAP program is ran by registered
I did, but to choose my things, and I got it first, and when I was approved, and when I was again, I was questioned. Oh, well, can't you guys somehow?
But that's the way it goes by your income. Anything that's coming from social service, it goes on your income. If you over $80, then you don't have that. So you have to be under the guideline of your income so to get those services.
So I have to be
Yeah.
Ms. Tyree is the next.
Oh, that's because I work for you.
That's why I have her here. Ms. Tyree is an expert. Okay? Right there?
I live here long enough to know their views, yeah?
But we have to go through our channels and our friends. That's why I bring people meetings like this, so we can associate with people that can help us. Because you have to have the contact. Okay, that's what I'm gonna say. And leave it from there. Go ahead.
well, this is literally the best thing that you can be doing is coming to events like this and meeting with people like Marvin and Better, because so many people, they're just unaware of what is available. I'm not sure what the incentives are right now for like Con Edison or places like that. Years ago, you could have got $20, $30, $40, $50,000 from Con Edison, your whole house with heat pumps. And we were trying to get some incentives from some of the clients we were working for. All the money was gone. Like Con Edison ran out of money for a 5-year program in 3 years because the people who knew about the program soaked up all the money. All the money was gone. So this was years ago. I don't know where it stands right now. But again, you talk to your neighbors, talk to your community members, talk to people like Marvin, talk to people like Better. You're doing the right thing coming here tonight and learning, because you don't want to be at the end of the train. Because right now, there's equipment that's not going to be available. There's refrigerant that's not going to be available. There are companies going out of business. And there are unfortunately a lot of unscrupulous people in the HVAC business that take advantage of people because of what they don't know. So, you know, again, Marvin's a great resource. Anytime he wants me to speak anywhere, I'll go and do it, because we need to educate people in our communities. And last one. This is the last one? Oh, assistance program is being eliminated. So again, LIP has not been eliminated. But if you look at what's happening in the big ugly bill, they're trying to eliminate a lot of these programs. They're trying to stuff their pockets on the backs of people who can't afford it. People who have paid their debt to society and, you know, don't deserve to be without heat and don't deserve to be without cool. And the last thing I'll say just about heat pumps, I've always noticed that a lot of people, they'll be in these buildings where, like me, if it's 1 degree off inside of my house, I'm uncomfortable. Like, heat pumps are great. You can control your environment. It's much more efficient. So in terms of like electrification, I'm all for it. Just try to make sure you're educated about what's going on, and you know, make sure you're not being taken
I'd like to make
advantage
a point, and I'm not telling you portions of our students, exceptional students. We were trying to encourage more women to get into this field.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We definitely need more women in this field.
And Portia took the part on Saturdays to come to our class and go through the testing.
Yeah.
Portia is one of our premier young ladies that are getting into the program. I'm not lying. I'm dead serious doing what I said when I first started doing it. So I'm very proud of her.
Yeah.
For her to show up tonight, I'm proud of her. She's here to learn. She can challenge any man in that classroom, and she did.
Yeah.
I won't tell you in the 90s, she hit the 90s in her scores, but she's kicking butt on her test, okay?
Yeah.
She's getting an exceptional job. And I really mean that. And I want to give credit to her doing it.
Well, listen, as much gloom and doom as I may be talking about, there's a lot of opportunities in HVAC right now. There's hundreds of billions of dollars in job opportunities, business opportunities. Marvin and I have talked about trying to bring some things out to Westchester and Mount Vernon that can create opportunities for people, and we definitely need more women in these fields. For some reason, women have been kind of directed away from fields that they are led to believe are just more hands-on and things like that. In HVAC, and of course she'll tell you, I tell them in class, you're not working with your hands, you're working with your mind. Because all of this stuff is very technical, very detail-oriented. And there's a place for almost anybody in this field. So you have family members, even if yourself, you want to get into something, it's never too late. So you know, HVAC. My training program is actually an online school. So I train people literally around the world. It just so happens that we like to do a lot of hands-on things. So when Marvin asked me to come here and train people, then I'll come here. But you know, there's a lot of resources that people don't know about. It's just that, unfortunately, in this business, there are a lot of unions with a lot of brothers and cousins, and a lot of people don't know about the opportunities that exist. So it's my job to kind of go out there and educate them.
My son lives here, go to school, graduate here, and he's all the way in Chicago learning solar program.
Yes, ma'am.
He had his friends from Mount Vernon,
Yes, ma'am.
all the way in Illinois.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, you need to bring that stuff here.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
What, in terms of for jobs? Well, if you think about it, if we have to install, there's 4 million apartments in New York City that a lot of these places are going to have to install heat pumps. Remember the local law 97, the building's over 25,000 square feet? There's billions of dollars in opportunities. Every new building, they cannot install, like gas is dead. No. So, There's all types of things you can do in association with the people who do install. Yeah. So there's a lot of things. So I think they want to move on, but I'll give you
I was just making sure
Oh,
I
okay,
get your
okay,
name
okay,
for the
okay.
record.
Okay. So if you think about it, the thing that amazed me about the tariffs, right? What difference is a job manufacturing something versus the longshoreman who takes it off the ship and the truck driver that drives it around the country and the person that serves coffee to those people? There's an ecosystem of jobs around anything. In any industry that is buzzing, there's a lot of jobs that are going to get created by that. And like literally, my company, we're working on our own heat pumps because I see so much of a big opportunity. But the thing is, I know there's a lot of jobs that are going to come with that. And what we can do in our communities, we can create thousands of jobs in our own communities. And with the programs like NYSERDA and the investments that they try to make in communities, who knows what we can do.
Speaking of NYSERDA, I'm working on a solar project for my church, and we've been quoted a NYSERDA price in December, and now it's been reduced by 25%. So do you know what's going on in your policy side?
I know the budget's in it, right?
So what New York State is reducing because of the division of federal funds, which is just a couple of months, it's 25% less of an incentive.
Yeah.
And so, the question was, they want to know about the solar prices have increased. She's at her church.
Well, the incentive that she was supposed to get from NYSERDA for
It went from $9,000 down to like $7,300, and so why is it in just 5 months?
Solar incentive going down.
So the PSC cut the funding for the New York Sun program that used
The
to.
Public Service Commission?
Yeah, public service commission.
What kind of when? How did that happen?
Very recently.
But it could also be a result of have them going down to a lower incentive level that happens regionally, right?
It's really because the program has actually been very successful.
Right.
And that's one of the goals for the climate act that we're reaching. So many people like solar are taking advantage of those rebates. That now I think they're just starting to think that, maybe the market is kind of working on its own. They don't need to have so many incentives and, rebates for that. And so they're going down and they're thinking, it's better to invest and have people weatherize their homes, purchase heat pumps, do these kind of other clean energy solutions. But there is advocacy that's happening by the solar industry because they're not happy about this to fight it. And then there was that big press conference and rally last week in Albany. There's, I'm happy to send you information if you're interested, but I don't know if they're victorious.
We can take your information and we can check on it.
Yeah.
Because it may also, as I said, be because it's run at a lower level of incentive. This is the way the program is. Okay, so we can do that. But why don't we move on and we can all talk afterwards?
There you go.
Thank you.